Welcome back, folks, to Max Nave Horsemanship and Baby Steps. And I suspect today's probably going to be another one of those rather short videos that, because I don't think there's anything I can show you that's new, but actually, stay to the end. There's something I'm going to show you. But to start with, I'm going to talk about a couple of things that are, well, kind of trivial stuff. I'll talk about the weather a little bit. It's actually a tiny bit nicer than it was yesterday, even though it's actually just a hair cooler. There's a lot less wind, and so it's a lot nicer today. So, and for those of you that are not familiar with the effects of the wind in sub-zero temperatures, I shouldn't say sub-zero, it depends whether you're Fahrenheit or Celsius. Anyhow, if it's below freezing, the wind has a huge effect on what it's like out. So that's something you can keep in mind. If you wonder why I dress the way I do, I figured out many years ago that it's a whole lot easier to stay warm than it is to get warm. And because start to finish, in fact, the video is probably going to be, in most cases, they're less than an hour long by the time I'm done editing. I might be outside for a couple of hours, and even if it's not terribly cold out, having all this extra clothing on actually does make a huge difference. And this jacket actually isn't a hugely warm jacket. I have another one that's much warmer for the real cold temperatures. This is my spring and fall jacket actually that I'm wearing right now, but with the insulated bibs on, makes a huge difference. So be prepared for the elements. It's something you should take in mind all the time when you're being with your horses. And yeah, I'm surprised more people don't watch these videos. I think people would just love watching me suffer outside in the winter. Shouldn't they? I don't know. Some people do. I think it's kind of the way it likes to go. But I haven't really been getting many views on these videos, and I'm a little disappointed because I thought with the change of format that more people would be interested. It'd be far more enlightening to see what I'm actually doing with a real live horse that has had no training, and the steps that we go through to get her where she needs to be. And unfortunately, there hasn't been many views. Been very poor, actually. And as a result, after the end of this series, when I'm done doing what needs to be done with her, there's a good chance I'm not going to do any more videos for a while unless something changes drastically. But by the time you see this one, who knows? Because I'm actually a few weeks ahead in my videos, because I do a full video every Saturday and Sunday, but I only post one a week, so I'm actually a little bit ahead. And that's okay, though. It just means that maybe I can not do videos for a few weeks until the inspiration hits me to do something, and then we'll do something. But anyhow, enough of that. I don't know if you can hear that whinnying in the background there. There's a couple of horses over there talking to each other. They're in different pens. But I want to give you a little trivia here, and it's not important and not even 100% relevant to horses, but it is about horsepower. Because I found something really interesting recently. I was watching a video, and some guys that had some resources at their disposal decided to do a little research and find out if a horsepower actually is the power of a horse. And it was kind of interesting. And they set up a rather elaborate rig to test the amount of power that a horse has. And for the purpose of testing, they didn't use a draft horse that's made for pulling. They used an ordinary light horse like you or me would ride, except the horse had been broke to harness so it could do some pulling. And so, your average horse, Nothing meant for pulling, right? Okay, so they did this, set it up on this equipment that they could measure the horsepower output, and discovered that your average light horse is actually capable of, I think that was 1.6 horsepower. Now that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but that's 60% more than what most people think a horsepower is. And for most of you've heard of horsepower. That's how they rate the power of electric motors, gasoline engines, all that stuff. But what is a horsepower? Well, in theory, it is the amount of work that a horse can do in 1 hour. Now, where that came from many years ago was somebody observed some horses at work They weren't really a horse person, and they didn't really do anything scientific or anything to test it. They just observed a horse working and how much work it could actually do in a given period of time, not taking into consideration a number of other factors. But that was what they determined to be 1 horsepower, and that has been our standard of measurement for a horsepower ever since. But it's not really correct, actually. Your average horse can do about 1.5 times or more of what 1 horsepower is. So, little trivia, doesn't have a whole lot to do with horses, but I just thought I'd share that with you, because it was kind of interesting. And, well, if you're horsey, maybe you care about what 1 horsepower is. It's not really what a horse can do. A horse can do more than that. Anyhow, as I said in another video previously, where I made it a short one, what I'm going to be doing with this horse is going to be largely stuff that you've already seen. I'm just going to be doing it over and over again. And so for the next hour or so, I'm simply going to repeat things that you've already seen, and no point in boring you with them. And already today I noticed a little hitch after I brought her in here, when I went to put the halter on, she turned her head away. So one more thing we can work on again. As I've said before, when you're working on problems or teaching a horse something, it doesn't occur in one session. It's not a single event. It's a process. It's a journey. It takes days, weeks, months, sometimes even years to get really good. And so there are things that you want to do with your horse that you want to do well. And every time you do something with your horse, make a point of always doing it correctly. So that, for example, if I want to take the halter off this horse, I'll show you what I'm going to do. And this is something that I've only recently come across. Saw somebody doing it, but it made total sense. Is you want the horse to be very cooperative, and you want something as simple as taking the halter off to actually mean something to the horse and be something productive. So what we're going to do is we're going to untie it here, and we're not taking it off yet. I'm actually holding on to the both ends of it, and then I'm going to tip the horse towards me gently, just like that. And when she comes to me and gives gently, I take the halter off. Now, there's something just got accomplished there. She learned to give to the halter. In the process, all I was doing is taking it off. No big deal, but it actually did something. And you'll also notice something else. She's still standing here. And I've done a couple of videos on this before, because I saw somebody else doing a video on how to release a horse safely. And I thought that was kind of silly. If you got to be careful how you release a horse to not get hurt. You're doing something wrong. That's my thought anyhow, because as you can see, the halter's off and she's still standing here. You know, she wants to be here with me. I'm not restraining her in any way, shape, or form. There's no rope on her at all. The lead rope's laying here and the halter's here. You can see clearly there's absolutely nothing going on that keeps her here, other than the fact that she wants to be with me. So that's one of the many things that I want to show you. First off, when you're doing something as simple as just taking a halter off, you can still make it productive. You can still accomplish something just taking a halter off. And that's what we did. And I'm going to show you something else in a little bit here too. Maybe after I'm all done in here, I'm going to show you something. So stick around to the end of this one, because there might be something else that is worth seeing that I think I'd like to show people. I've done videos on it in the past, talking about how the horse reacts to being in the round pen, and when you let it out of the round pen, how it behaves and everything else. And I'm going to give you an example of that with this one. I'm going to show you how she behaves when she goes out of the round pen, which tells me what's going on in the round pen. Am I stressing the crap out of her to the point where she doesn't want to be here? That's very important. You don't want to stress the horse to the point where she doesn't want to be here. You know, she's gotten to the point now, I just opened the gate when I got her on the lead and halter, because I actually get her from a fair ways away from here. I lead her over here, and I open the gate, and I just say, in you go, dear, and in she goes. And after she goes through the gate, as I demonstrated in another video, I go through the safest way possible, and she automatically backs out of my way and gives me room. I close the gate. She doesn't try running back out or anything silly like that. So that says a lot right there. She's not reluctant to come in here. And, well, I'm going to show you in a minute what it's like when I let her out, because I think that's pretty important too. And if you give me a minute, I'm going to put the halter back on her again so we can demonstrate that, because I don't want to... Actually, I think I'm going to do that now, but I don't want her taken off. I do want to still do some work with her in here. So I'm going to keep a leading halter on her. But I'm still, the principle is still going to show itself, whether or not she wants to go charging out that gate, or whether she goes out calmly and peacefully. Even though right now there's a draw, there's some of her pasture mates are just over here ways. There's a bale over there they're eating off of, and they're hanging around. And she likes to be with them, so she's got a reason to want to go out. But as you can see, she's still standing here with me. She's not even attracted to that side of the round pen today, which is much better than yesterday when that other horse was standing right against the fence pretty much. So I'm going to show you that. Just give me a second. I'm going to put the halter and lead back on her, reset the camera a little bit to show you a little better view of that gate that I want you to see. And I'm going to show you exactly what happens when we let her out the gate, because that's a very telling thing. You know, in itself, it's not a huge deal to do it, but how the horse reacts in certain situations can really tell you a lot. And it's important to pay attention to these things. Training is about a lot more than just the individual things you do. And you can tell whether or not you're doing it well, and if you're pushing the horse too hard, by how they react in certain ways. And that's one of the things that I like to emphasize, and I'm going to show you, is how she reacts when we go out that gate. Now, right now, you'll see she's over by the gate, and the reason for that is there's actually a salt lick over there that she kind of likes, and so she's indulging in that at the moment. But that's minor. I don't. That's not an issue, really. She's not there because she wants to go out the gate. She's over there because there's a salt lick there that she wants. So, anyhow, let me reset and show you what we're talking about. We've got the halter back on her and we're over by the gate, and I'm going to show you how she responds to the gate. Now, I can do this. This gate opens both ways, so I can go either way with it. And just for, well, wants to go this way, we'll let it go this way. So we'll open the gate in, and we'll ask her to go out. Now, you see how calmly she walked out the gate, and she stopped when she got on the other side of the gate, and she waited for me, and we're standing here on a slack lead. She's not trying to take off, and I'll just ask her to go back in now. Come on. Atta girl. Good girl. There we go. You see, she wasn't in a big hurry to leave, nor was she resistant to come back in again either. And those are things that can be very, very telling. And that's why I say it's not just what you're doing with your horse that makes a difference. These things can tell you whether or not you're doing it right. And I'm not saying I'm an expert, and that's why things are so good. But they're things I pay attention to because they help me in what I'm doing, and they tell me whether or not I'm doing things okay. You know, because I make mistakes too. Don't get me wrong, man. I make mistakes all the time. But as you can see, well, there we go. Got a little horse here that is not in a hurry to leave and doesn't mind coming back in again, which really tells me a lot about what we're doing and how we're doing it. So those are a couple of the things that I wanted to show you that I think are important to know. Are they critical things as part of training that you need to see me doing? Well, maybe not. I don't know. But not going to hurt. And I'm sure you want to see a little bit of horse content here because, like I said, I'm going to make a fairly short video today because we're going to be doing a lot of repetition today that you've already seen. no point in doing it over again in another video. So again, this one's probably going to be a little bit shorter because, well, there just ain't a whole lot to show you, at least nothing new anyhow. Not today. But it doesn't mean we aren't going to be doing anything. I'm still going to spend approximately an hour out here doing things with her, and they're going to be things that are kind of typical of what we do, all the things I've shown you, and they're going to be things that you have to do over and over and over again, because I've said it before, things are not fixed in a single event. We've had a few little issues with her where she's kind of reverted a bit in certain areas. That's okay. It's not a big deal. We've only just begun with this one anyhow. We're going to be at this stuff for a while, so it's not a big deal. So keep watching. There's going to be more, I can guarantee it. There you go, just one more example of the ability to maneuver her, how she responds to my cues. And this is all new stuff, and we're still going to be doing it over and over, lots, so don't think that we're done with anything. No, as good as she seems to be, she's got a long ways to go. We're not done with her. There's lots of things that aren't done yet. Well, actually not a lot, but lots of things that need to get better. But there's still a couple things we have not done yet, and you'll get to see them when we get to them. Things like the feet. We're going to do them eventually when she's ready, but we're going to do a lot of other things before that, just so she gets better about being handled, so that eventually someday I can just reach down and pick up a foot safely. And that's what it's about. It's about safety. A lot of what we do is based on, it's not just good horsemanship and good training. It's about keeping yourself safe in the process too. That's where it's very important to pay attention to the horse. And I'm actually risking myself a little bit doing these videos because I'm not as focused on the horse as I should be. And there's nothing wrong with setting up a camera for yourself even, and just watching what you do and reviewing it later and watching the things you do. And you can help yourself that way. You can say, oh, gee, I should have done that a little bit different or something. There's lots of stuff that, where do you think you're going? I didn't ask you to back up, did I? No, come forward. There we go. Good girl. So, don't be scared to set up a camera, but don't get fixated on it. Don't talk to it. Ignore the camera. Forget it's even there. But it doesn't hurt to video yourself and watch it later, and use it as a training tool to teach yourself how to be a better horseman, how to do things better. It's one of those things. But rather than bore you with all the repetitious stuff we're going to be doing today, I'm just going to leave you with what we've shown you and talked about, and say have a good day. And I'll talk to you again on the next one. We're not done. Have a good day.